Did you play, or were you just sitting on the bench, or what? What was
No,
the
they threw me in left field. I haven't played left field in a while.
Oh man,
I was in left field. Remember my first inning in left field, I was like, dang, like Kershaw, I better not mess anything up right now.
Welcome to the Darren Woodson Show. Today's guest, Cody Bellinger, the National League Player of the Year. Listen, hey, Cody, I know right now the season hasn't started. You guys are sitting back right now, especially with COVID-19. You guys are taking some time and not doing much right now. What's on the schedule right now?
The only thing on our schedule, we got with us and another friend right down the street here, we got a little in-home garage workout that we're doing right now. All gyms are closed, so 9 o'clock every day and then me sometimes we'll just work out in the garage right downstairs, get a nice little workout in. And man, that's the only thing on our schedule. The pool here is shut down, so no pool time, so we're just trying to find things to do and watching a lot of Netflix and a lot of HBO, and a lot of Xbox.
So you start spring training, you come together, and it gets shut down. What's the mentality that you've got, kind of thinking, okay, hey, are we going to kick off the season in summer? Are we going to get a reduced season? But like, what's the mentality of your teammates? Is there communication with the team as far as, hey, these are the workouts that we need you doing? How is that going right now? Because this is obviously first time for everyone.
Yeah, first time for everyone. I think everyone, we've got a group chat going. It's pretty funny. Everyone's finding creative ways to get an in-home lift, whether you're working out with your kids, bench pressing your kid, literally just doing it, whatever you can to get a lift in. We're all on the same page. No one really knows what's happening, but my mentality is I'm trying to treat it like December in that way, or January, where you work out, hit a few times a week, and that's about it. That's the only thing you can prepare for, because no one really knows, what is happening, what's going to happen next.
Is your strength coach sending you any workouts, or is this all up to you guys where you're just having to kind of make up your own thing?
Man, making up, because all gyms are shut down, so there's not many people have, the proper equipment. So it's just, doing your own thing, getting your body right as much as you can. And, yeah, it's a crazy time for sure.
Hey, let's back up a little bit, with you, Cody, here, and move back. Your story is pretty cool. You got the chance to play in the Little League World Series. How old were you when you played then?
I was 11.
11. Okay, so you went through an experience in a crowd at an early age that a lot of kids didn't get the chance to experience, that maybe helped you prepare for, getting your shot in the majors years later. But talk us through what that Little League World Series is like.
Man, it was seriously awesome. It was well put together. I don't know how many teams are in it. Maybe 16, maybe more. But we're all put up in a dorm area, the big, huge dorms, and each team gets your own separate dorm. And there's a activity place to play ping pong, go to the pool, and man, it was just a crazy time. This is ridiculous, man. Like at the time, like we're 11 and 12-year-old guys, playing baseball, 250-foot fence. So it was awesome. Games are televised. We're doing an interview, with John Crook and Baseball Tonight, and it's just. It really is a crazy time to be there.
You watch it now. How much has it changed now from a media perspective? I mean, all the kids have nicknames and, all these funny facts. How much has it changed from when you were there to what it is today?
Man, if anything, it feels the same to me. I feel like there's a lot of big kids there now, like kids that are just huge. I'm like, dang, I don't remember, but maybe I was just oblivious to it. But I feel like there's some big kids that just go out there and just ball out.
Yeah. So that speaks to your background, man. And I want to dive deep into mentality. Look, I know that there's a lot of guys that have made it to the league, and when you were that age, what was your mentality like, man? What kind of, I always talk about the dog in people and the willingness to battle through things. At what age did you know that you had what it took to be in the position where you are right now, a Major League Baseball player?
Man, I feel like you don't really know until you get to the big leagues. Like, because I had success in the minor leagues, but like even in the minor leagues, like you're grinding, like you're still going like 0 for 10, 0 for 15. And then you get a taste of the show, and it's just like, all right, what do I have to do today to stay in the lineup? And then when you're staying in the lineup, how do you stay in the lineup again? And it just, I don't know. It's just, for me, it's keeping things simple. And honestly, I try to have fun with it because it is just a game. It's the same game we've been playing. It's just,
but yeah,
more pressure and more people watching.
But as a kid, now I'm talking, you were 11 years old when you were playing in.
Yeah.
But as a kid, because we have a lot of listeners right now that are parents and do have kids that are out there playing. Heck, I've been in the club baseball arena with my son since he was 7 years old. He's 19 now.
Yeah.
So as a kid, was there something about you when you were that young that said, I'm going to work my ass off every single day because this is the dream? Was there a driving force within you?
I think the driving force for me personally, I just love playing. Like, I just love being out on the field. I love baseball. I also played soccer, and I did love soccer as well. But baseball was just always like my number one like priority. I love traveling, tournaments, doubleheaders. Man, I seriously loved it, and I think that's what drove me to be a good player. And also, I mean, it helps with my dad. He was my coach. He played. He understood the game. He got mad at me when I would, kind of take things for granted and not play hard. And I think all those things just added up. But honestly, I just love playing baseball.
So you go through high school, you had a good career, obviously, in high school, and you come to a decision, do I go and get drafted or do I go play college ball? And I know that's what's very different from baseball to football, right? Is there's no opportunity there in football. But talk us through that decision and why you said, okay, hey, because you verbally committed to Oregon, right? Is that what I read?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so verbally committed there, and you're like, I want to keep that option open. But what was that deciding factor to say, hey, I'm going to go through this grind of playing in the minors and staying at people's houses and chase that dream of the majors as opposed to I'm going to go to college and I'm going to get my degree and then I'm going to get a chance there?
Yeah, so I was actually like, I would have been looking back, or at the time, I was going to be satisfied with going to Oregon. So the deciding factor for me, me and my family had a number that we were going to sign for, and I didn't want to sign for anything less than that number at the time. And through 3 rounds have passed, or 2.5 to 3 rounds have passed, and I was like, dang, like I'm actually about to go to Oregon. And Logan White called me with the Dodgers. He was like, "Hey man, 4th round pick, 124. We're gonna take you here for what you want and what you're asking for. So go ahead, tell teams that you're going to college." And no other team really called, so I had to say that. But Logan White called me, and I was just sitting on the computer waiting for it, and it was a no-brainer for me because I got the money that I wanted, and it was the Dodgers. Like it didn't matter the team, but the Dodgers, Yeah. So it was a no-brainer for me. Looking back, I'm glad I got the number because if I would have went to college, over a few $100,000 less, who knows where I would be right now. So it is pretty crazy to look back.
And it's one of those things, and I want to ask you, I got a question at the end of this, but is, you have an opportunity always to go to college, right? Your window to be a pro and to make the money that you can is very small. And I think as I matured, I was kind of that naive, and I was a football player. So for me, it was like, no, got to go to college. That's got to be first. I don't understand how these guys just go right into the pros in basketball and baseball. And then even guys that would leave college early for football, I'm like, man, you're selfish. You're selfish. Get your degree. But as I get older and more mature and more in touch with reality, it's like, dude, go get your money. You can always go back to school. And I know the Major League Baseball,
100%.
you guys have, the MLBPA, like you guys get school paid for down the road as long as you go within a certain amount of time, right? So you can always go to class. You can have a busted shoulder, you can have a bad knee and sit in a classroom, but you have a window to do it. So looking back now, are you happy with your decision in not going to school, or are you like, man, I wish I'd have gone to school and done it differently?
No, I'm happy about it. Like, I honestly, I still think, what happens if I went to college? Like, what happens if another team drafted me? Like, it's just crazy, like, how little or those decisions, can make a huge difference. But no, I'm happy. I think there's pros and cons to going to college and not going to college, or vice versa. So, but at the time, I feel like I needed to sign, and I'm really glad I did.
Mm-hmm. So you make that decision to go in the draft and go to the minor leagues. I'm curious, what was that first experience like? Because you think of you dream your whole life for the major league big time show. Minor league baseball is not the show. So what was that like?
No.
What was the shock and the reality like when you first got to minor league baseball?
Yeah, talk us through that, man, because all these kids have dreams and huge dreams to play in the show, but they don't understand, like, they see the finished product. They don't see all the little
grind
things.
Is real.
Yes. Talk to us about the minor league grind.
Real. I remember my first few days I was out here in Arizona for the Arizona League, and I've never been because in high school we didn't have a locker room, so I've never been in a locker room. I've never taken a shower with a big ass shower, open shower, like changing in front of other people. Like, it's like crazy, and eventually you get used to it. But I remember like looking at the schedule and I'm like, dang, I don't even know where I'm supposed to be right now. That was the beginning factor. And then, man, the minor leagues, looking back, like, it really is a fun time because you're with your boys in, some brutal hotels, some nice hotels. You're on one bus, two to a row for about, possibly 10, 12 hours. You got guys sleeping on the floor. I was always on the floor because I could never sleep in a chair. So I would always end up going on the floor underneath the seat. And my seat partner, we call it, or seat buddy or whatever, would have the whole row to himself. But yeah, you're on that bus for 10 to 12 hours, stopping at random gas stations throughout the night. And, getting there at 6, 7 a.m. and having a game that night at 5, 7. So, it takes a toll on your body, but looking back, like the friendships that you made, it really is special.
Talk us through the mentality, because it's a grind, right? It's long. It's not like, okay, hey, you got a 16 game season, right? And going on the bus to bus, and you spent a couple seasons in the minors. So talk us through that mentality of, okay, how do I keep it up? Because, game 30, game 35, game 50, you're like, gosh, man, like, when is this going to end? Or how do you stay motivated to perform at a high level through that process?
Oh man, I think it's just knowing what the end goal could be. So it's like, no matter like how tired you are or how hot it is in, Tulsa, Oklahoma in June, and you're out here grinding and you're like 0 for 4, you just got to know that the big leagues is close. And I don't know, man, it mentally, it was fun though. Like, looking back, I don't know, man. It's a grind, but it really was fun.
But how old were you so you're 18, 19 years old going through this experience?
Drafted when I was 17. Yeah. And then
Jeez.
Got to AAA when I was 20 for the first time, 21 for the first time.
So what is the talent difference? Because, you had a good, minor league career, but, you get into the majors, your game elevated exponentially. So talk us through the difference between the talent in the minor leagues and AAA versus the majors.
Huge difference from the big leagues to AAA. Big difference from high A to AA. And then there's a pretty big little jump from AA to AAA, and then that jump from AAA to the big leagues is different. I think, once you get to the big leagues, though, at first, your mindset is simple, and it's just helping the team. Whether you steal a base or you make a nice play, like, that keeps you motivated. And then, man, playing in the big leagues, playing in front of fans, you don't get that in the minor leagues. You get like 500 people to 2,000 people, and so it's kind of like it's a job, but it's like it brings you energy and excitement again. At least definitely at first.
So for you, if the talent difference, it was so big, but you came in and made an immediate impact. You set records as a rookie your first couple months in the majors. So how did you prepare yourself to make that transition so quickly? Because that's really uncommon. So for you, what was that mentality? Hey, I'm going to get to the bigs. This is my opportunity. I'm going to take full advantage. What was that?
That's exactly what it is. I got the opportunity, and it's like, because I, there's some people that just wait for an opportunity, and you never know when you get another opportunity. So just doing everything that you possibly can to take advantage of that opportunity, and that's kind of what my mindset was. I could have been sent down, So I was like, I just want to play out here as hard as I can and show people what I can do.
Don't want to go back.
Yeah.
No.
Tell us about that call up. What was that like? Did it compare to what you dreamed it would be? What was the situation when you first got called up?
Yeah. So when I actually got to San Francisco, or like everything?
Yeah, from the minor leagues, and whoever your minor league coach comes and, hey, Bellinger, they're calling you up. They're putting in the big show. What was that like? What was that process?
Yeah, no, I was in Oklahoma City, and my roommate came in around like 2:30 or 3, and he was like, hey man, you might want to check your phone. And I checked my phone. I had about 6-7 missed calls from Gabe Kapler, who was our farm director at the time. And I called him back, and this is like 2 or 3 in the morning. He's like, hey man, pack your bags. You got a 7 a.m. flight to San Francisco this morning, or 8 a.m. flight to San Francisco. And I didn't expect it. I really had no idea it was coming. I was like, holy cow, like this is real. Called my parents. They actually picked up. I was like, hey, Gabe just called me. I have an 8 a.m. flight to San Francisco 8 a.m. flight to San Francisco. And they started freaking out and packed up a suitcase. I got no sleep that night. I didn't sleep a second on the plane. And then I got to San Francisco probably around like 11, 12, and the bus was at 1:30. So, and it wasn't out on Twitter yet, so I couldn't really tell my friends. I was just sitting in the hotel room, waiting for the tweet to say that I got called up, and then got called up, kind of blew up, and then I was in San Francisco that night. Clayton Kershaw on the mound. Oh, geez. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. So did you? How much? First game now. So you're standing there. Did you play, or were you just sitting on the bench, or what? What was?
No, they threw me in left field. I haven't played left field in a while.
Oh man!
I was in left field. Remember my first inning in left field, I was like, dang, like Kershaw, I better not mess anything up right now. Like I'm locked in. I had the fans, kind of talking smack because it is, they had my family's names already. I was like, dang, this is crazy.
Yeah, the Giants-Dodgers rivalry is no joke.
It was awesome, man. It was crazy. I just remember like in between pitches, like looking up in the stands and it's like, all right, lock it in. You're playing the game right now.
Okay. So that's interesting. So you did take time during the game to soak it up, or did it all just happen so fast that you don't even remember really?
No, I soaked it up. I remember going up to the dugout. The game was at 7:05. I probably went to the dugout around like 6:45 and just sat there and soaked it in for a minute before I went out to the line. And because that's what someone told me, like, yo, go up to the dugout, soak it in before you go out and stretch, and then you go out and stretch and get your mind right.
So with the veteran players now, they're watching you. You're coming. It's your first day. What was that treatment like? Was there any rookie hazing coming in?
No, definitely not the first day. It helps in spring. You get to meet the guys in spring training. You're playing with them for a little bit, so you get to know them. No, there was no hazing really. I mean, there's always that rookie hazing. We got to dress up, but that's later on in the season when you're comfortable. But no, we got a bunch of great guys that made me feel comfortable from day one. I think that helped me perform.
So you get called up and like you said, you took the time to soak it in. When did it hit you? How many weeks in or how many games down did it hit you? Okay, I belong here. This isn't just a fluky deal. Like this is where I'm supposed to be.
I think I had some success. I kind of struggled a little bit at first, and I had some success. I think the second or third series after San Francisco, hit my first 2 home runs, had a two hit game, and I'm like, all right, like I can do this. You know, like why can't I do this right now? And I think you start, you know, getting some confidence, and you know, in baseball, once you get confidence, man, you just got to ride with it because it's a hard, frustrating sport. So you just got to roll with what you got.
Yeah, baseball more than any is so much mental. There's such a mental aspect to it.
And you're being nice about shit. Like I don't understand how y'all do it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, because in football you can't fail that much. You fail, your ass is cut straight. You know, that's just how it works.
It's a completely different mindset, and it's so routine based. Like, you know, for the most part at 2:00, like you know what you're doing. 1:35, you're going to eat food. Like it's crazy, man. It's like routine, like. But that's what you mentally right for that day. So it's wild.
All right.
It's a crazy ass game.
Talk us through your rookie season. I mean, like I said, you set all kinds of records as a rookie for the Dodgers, but then you get selected to the All-Star game as an alternate, but you came in and what was that experience like? I mean, playing with these guys that you've been watching for the last few years, I mean, some of them even longer. What was that like stepping into that and saying, damn, I'm like with the elite? And now I belong.
It was ridiculous. I remember walking into that locker room. I'm like, oh, like it still felt weird. It was weird, man. Just seeing all those names, like, damn, I'm a part of this right now. But like, I gotta still like, I'm still like the young guy, like, you know. So it was just kind of weird. And then I was in the Derby that day, so I was super nervous for that. I got a bee flying around me. I hate those things. Yeah, it was a wild time.
Was there any name? I mean, is there someone that like you idolized growing up that you walked in that locker room in the All-Star game and said, you know, you're meeting this person for the first time?
No, not that I can remember. But it was the whole walking into that locker room and having all these different guys, superstars from these different teams, you know, that you've watched, or for me, played against some of them, just like talking to them and hanging out and signing and batting practice. And yeah, I wouldn't say, I can't remember like one guy.
All right. So you go from playing all these small towns baseball to the majors, right? Like you have now a platform, exposure, opportunity to meet people that you never would have met. And kind of to piggyback on Darren's question, you know, who one is like the coolest person that you've had the chance to like meet in person and get to know? And then second question is who is someone that you want to meet or someone that you feel like, okay, that person would make me nervous?
Yeah, outside of me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
I'm nervous right now. So the coolest person I met was Cody Bryant.
Oh, man.
Met him during in 18 against Milwaukee in the playoffs. I was in the video room. He came in. He introduced himself, and I was literally speechless. Like I felt like I literally couldn't get the words out. And it was weird, man. I was like, I've never been starstruck ever. And then I saw Kobe. I was like, whoa, this is crazy, man. Like, super nice guy. Took a picture with him, and you know, it wasn't much, but just meeting him was absolutely ridiculous.
All right, now cool. Someone that you want to meet, and I'm assuming it's going to be someone like Jessica Alba or.
I was going to say, well, Jennifer Lopez was sitting front row one of those games.
Oh,
either in 17 or 18. I was like, dang.
Yeah, we got a funny story here. She came out to Dallas a few months ago, and we office where the Cowboys headquarters is, all three of us, and there's a gym there called Cowboys Fit, and her and A-Rod come in and are working out. Man, I tell you what, I wasn't over there, but some of the guys in our office, a full suit, go over to the gym just stand and stare at her while she's working out and take these pictures. And I'm like,
they didn't say nothing?
No.
Hell no.
Just a full like pedophile creeper standpoint, right? Like, I'm like, did you put a mustache on at least before you went over and creeped on it? But yeah, man, a 50-year-old like her.
She's special.
Yes, she is. Hey, you're in.
She's different.
Yeah, you're in LA. So I mean, it's like every time you walk down the street, there's a superstar there. How do you balance that as far as the game and then the nightlife in Los Angeles?
Man, I don't really experience the nightlife, honestly. I mean, I don't even think I've been out in LA once, to be honest. I think once the season happens, like, you're playing every single day. You're at the field at home. You get there around 1 o'clock and you leave around 10:45, 11. So you're literally at the field all day, every day. And then you have about 4 off days at home, you know, and then that's just the times you would just sit on your couch all day and maybe go to the beach at one of those days. But so I really, you know, I don't really do much during the season at all. And then in the off season, I'm out here in Arizona. So just go out there and play baseball.
Yeah. So that brings up a good question. I think that's interesting. We as football players didn't understand that. You know, we had 16-game regular season. But talk us through what a major league season looks like. As many games as you guys play, and you think, okay, you know, baseball isn't as physical. It is physically demanding because it's the marathon, right? It's the beat down, the constant over and over. But then, like, from a schedule standpoint, like, I mean, it is crazy how much you guys are traveling. I mean, you guys are on planes, 15 days a month during the season?
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, we play 162 games from whenever the season is till the end of September. And you probably have 2 off days a month. And then usually on one of those off days, you're traveling. So you get in, so you basically have 1 off day a month.
So how do you have time to, like, even take care of your stuff, right? Like, keep your house cleaned, or, I mean, how do you handle all that stuff? Because you're on the road, especially if you're not married or don't have a family, like, you don't have anyone there to help you.
No, you're by yourself, man. And, but then again, it's like, I don't know. I don't really, like, I just don't do anything, you know. I'll wake up and make a breakfast and watch TV, head to the field, and then, you know, do everything at the field for about 10 hours and come home and either, you know, hop on the sticks and play Xbox for a little bit before I go to bed, or pop on a movie.
You think that's helped?
That's just life, man.
You think that's helped you in the fact that, you know, you're single going through this process? I mean, there's a lot of guys with families that, you know, are trying to balance it at the same time.
I would say, like, young kids, it's, you know, I mean, it'd be nice though to, like, to have someone to just, like, kick it with, though. Yeah. You know, but it would be tough. I mean, obviously, in any situation, it's having, like, a newborn kid, you know, trying to balance, like, helping your wife, like, helping the kid, and going out there still playing. Obviously, I don't got to deal with that yet, but that kind of stuff would probably be hard. But once you have, like, the family and they're older, you know, it shouldn't be. Well, I don't know for sure, but it could be. Maybe not that hard. I don't know.
We all 3 of us have kids, man. It doesn't get easier as it goes. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I believe that.
Yeah. All right, be honest, man. You, like he said, we got a football background. You hear these NFL players bitching about an extra game every year, 17 games as opposed to 16 games. There's only a few thousand people listening to this, so be honest. When you hear somebody bitching about 17 games and you going through 162, well, I mean, how do you stay, like we said earlier, how do you stay focused? And I mean, that is an absolute, grind.
Yeah, like July, right? Like the month of July. How do you stay motivated? Because you're in the middle of the season, like playoff implications haven't really hit in yet. Like, yeah, you got to stay ahead in your division, and I get that, but, like, those are dog days, and it's hot.
Those are the dog days. I mean, I can't lie. There are days where you're sluggish, obviously. Like, you're at the field and you're like, fuck, you know, like, you know, I don't got it today, but you know, you did that in the minor leagues for 4 or 5 years, but you're not in LA or not in San Diego. You're in, like, Jackson, Mississippi, or places like that. So you've been there before, and it's just like, you just got to remind yourself, like, this is big league, this is your job. And then once 7 o'clock hits and lights turn on, adrenaline takes over usually, you know, for the most part, every single time. So, but yeah, those days, you know, in the cage before, you're sitting there like, I don't got it today, but you just got to grind through it.
Does your life, I mean, I know that you said your father played, right?
Yeah.
Did that help you? Did that set the tone for you in the experiences that he went through, those conversations of those dog days? I mean, has that really helped to prepare you?
100%. Him playing, him I was a bat boy with him in the minor leagues, and I was like out there in New York when he played. And I don't remember too much of those days because I was 4 or 5 years old. But I think his background, him playing, and then him loving baseball and how him coach me all those years is the main reason why I think I love baseball so much.
So I'm always intrigued by this because, with our back, we keep mentioning this, but with our background, I'm trying to relate. If there's really not slumps in football, right? There's not. It's like, okay, if I want to,
you probably don't have time, right?
No, you don't, right? And then you get a reset every week, right? If there's a problem that you have in that game, you correct it on Monday, and then you work through it, and then start practicing on Wednesday. But for you, what is that mental thing? Okay, and you're like, I don't know what it is, and I don't know what my issue is. Why, now. I was batting 275. Now I'm at 165 over the last 10 games. Like, what is this slump? One, what's the mentality and what's the mindset to, one, identify it, but then two, to go through and shift it. And then, because baseball is such, like you said, a mental game in that sometimes it's just a mindset shift that you've got to have. So how do you overcome those challenges? Because every baseball player goes through it, I assume, at some point every year, different levels.
No, definitely. Man, there's probably like I would say as I get old, like as you get older and you understand yourself more, you understand why you're not performing the way you should, and you can like fix it a little quicker. But there are days where you show up and you're like, oh man, like what happened yesterday? It's a new day today. I know that, but like I'm still like grinding through. I don't know what I feel that's wrong. And you're watching video and you're like, oh, maybe it's my elbow, maybe it's my hand. And then you try to figure it out. But what I've kind of learned is just once the game happens, is like literally screw it. Like I got to go out there and perform, and I got to go do something. And I think that takes away from the mental side of slumping. And it's just like, all right, if I run out a ball hard here and I'm safe, even if it's in air, like that's doing something good. And that kind of like reverses your mindset and just like trying to win as opposed to like what's wrong with you.
So that's what I want to get out of you, man, is like, you're different, man. Mm-hmm. And you're not the same. You're not cut from the same cloth as everyone else. So you're different. What is it that these kids right now, just if you had one thing to tell these kids right now that aspire to be where you are, what is it?
Man, I think for me, what I try to tell, so growing up, man, I was small. I was tiny. I was skinny. I was short. I didn't grow till my junior year of high school. And then when I grew a lot. When I grew, I was 150 pounds. I was running like a newborn giraffe. So uncoordinated. Seriously. And so they moved me over to first because I was uncoordinated at that height and size. But my thing is like, no matter like if you're small or you're big at that age, like you got to work on fundamentals because I remember there were kids twice my size that only relied on their power and their size and said kind of screw the fundamentals, that eventually every other kid that was working on their game kind of passed them. So you just got to always like focus on the game, and because it don't matter your size, you can always hit that growth spurt,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think especially in baseball, you see a lot of guys that aren't like, physically gifted. They can go out and ball out. It's just a different game.
I'm the same as you. I growing up, I was a late bloomer, and I didn't hit my stride till really my first couple years in college. For you, was it ever a thought growing up when things weren't working out for you? How easy was it to just quit? Was that even cross your mind? What was your relationship with the thought of quitting as opposed to, no, you know what, I'm going to keep pushing, I'm going to keep working, eventually it's going to work out for me?
I don't think I ever thought about quitting. I had a dad that understood like if I wasn't ready to play that day, but he would always push me, but I don't know, man, I love playing sports like in general. So like, I just love going out there and playing no matter the sport. I don't know. I never really thought about quitting personally.
All right. So here's a controversial question, I think, especially with parents these days. You mentioned you played soccer earlier. What's your thought process on kids being multi-sport athletes versus single sport, single focus?
Probably pros and cons to both, but I think that me playing soccer helped me playing baseball because of the agility, the footwork,
conditioning,
the speed, like the conditioning. Yeah, like if I just played baseball, like you don't necessarily like do footwork drills, you know. So I think that did allow me to be a better baseball player. So I think playing different sports, especially at a young age, is great. And then eventually, like when you're good at something, when you get older, like high school, right before high school, like locking down one sport and like trying to be really, really good at that.
Mm-hmm. And so parents, these parents, like you said, that have 6-year-olds that they think they're going to be first round picks out of high school,
play one game, play one sport. And
man, especially at that young age, I would, because you don't even know what your kid wants. He doesn't know what he wants. He might end up falling in love with tennis or something. You know, who knows? But.
Yeah. And one thing I really want listeners to take away from this episode, this podcast with Cody, is passion for playing. Like, have fun. Like, that is the biggest thing. And that's one of the things, anytime I'm speaking to kids or I'm out talking, it's like, you have to enjoy the game, because I don't believe that you can ever be great at the game by forcing yourself to do it. You have to have a passion to play, to be at that level. I played with a handful of guys that are just so God-given talent, like they have so much of it that they're just good, but the great ones have a passion to play it. And especially early on, I always say, like, guys, enjoy the game. Don't make it a job, because it'll be, if you're good enough, it'll be a job one day, but be passionate about it. And I appreciate your mindset on that. Even talking about, you know, when we asked you about, okay, how do you approach 2020 in this, you know, this deal, you know, make or break year for you? It's, I mean, obviously not a make or break, but it's there's a lot of implications on it. Is, man, I just want to have fun. Like, I think young kids, parents need to hear that and say, you have to enjoy the game, or it becomes a job at a young age when you're not equipped to have a job at 12 years old.
So
yeah, no, especially at a young age, man. Especially at a young age.
So I got to leave. We're gonna you know, move. And I know you're a busy man. I don't want
that Jersey Mike's is getting a little soggy, man. I apologize. But
it's gonna be so good though.
Yeah, he was eyeing it. I saw that thing get set down next to him. He had those eyes.
So
no, it's in there. I don't.
It was either the J-Lo talk or the Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, got excited. Yeah. So my nephew Cole, you guys have been buddies for a long time. When did you guys meet? Was that in grade school, high school? It's been a while. High school, right? So
we ended up bonding over FIFA at first. That's what it was.
About what it was?
Yeah.
So Cole said he was a better athlete. I just want to know, is he a better athlete than you or not? Now, Cole plays for the Carolina Panthers. And
dude, I can't lie, man. He probably is a better athlete.
Oh, you gave it. You should have never did it. I'm not going to hear the end of this. Come on, man.
I mean, beyond, but I cannot compete in the NFL. I mean, he can't compete in the baseball.
Thank you.
Right. Being a football player, like you get crazy gifted, man. Crazy gifted.
It's totally different, man. There's a totally different gifted about it, man. The mental fortitude that y'all have.
But if he wants to go out on a golf course, I'm gonna beat the
All right, so as a baseball player, does golfing like affect your swing at all, your baseball swing, or do you just take my baseball swing out to the golf course?
Personally, honestly, not mine, and I don't know if that's because my golf swing is that bad or it's just two completely different mindsets. I could like, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't really affect mine. I think it's because it's two different mentalities, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, hey, take advantage of this time, this rest. You know, hopefully you guys are going to be picking back up here sooner rather than later, man. Stay safe. We appreciate you taking the time to come on in between workouts and enjoy that Arizona weather, man. It looks beautiful out there.
Oh, I am, man. Sunny and 75 right now.
Oh,
we got a few more weeks of it till it's about 107.
Yeah,
we're enjoying it now.
Hey, man, I do want to leave with this though. You have inspired a lot of kids, man. I mean, I've been around a lot of baseball kids here in Dallas through these club organizations, and there are a lot of Cody Bellinger fans. You know, I got one that's here right now from school, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. We love the fact that you play with passion. You say what you mean. If someone throws darts, you're throwing them right back, and that's. To me, it's healthy, man, and we really appreciate you being who you are as a man. So keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. I
I
appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
man.